I'm doing okay. I got my latte.
Is it a pumpkin spice latte?
Sure is. Sure is,
Wow. I think
just
one of
kidding.
the coolest things is reclaiming being a basic bitch. I really appreciate that. People were shitting on it for a long time. Let's reclaim that name.
Well, I just think be honest about who you are. You know, I'm just being very honest and authentic about who I am, and I am basic.
As is your butthole after
As-
every single one of those that you drink.
yeah, what do they put in those? Hard
I
to
don't know,
say.
but it is hilarious for you. You're the healthiest person I know, Jennifer. Okay. First of all, it's been so long since I saw you. It's been about a solid 13 hours. How are you?
Wow. Wow. I mean, I had a nice rest and I woke up and we started texting again.
You know what's so funny is okay, so today's episode is gonna be about romantic breakups. I know we just talked about friendship breakups. A few weeks ago, we are talking a little bit about romantic breakups. A few people had some questions about that. But one of the reasons we just saw each other is because we are in the process of getting our new Philly location up and running. So we were in the office. We just built side tables all day yesterday.
It's our favorite. We
And
could
couches.
be
Yeah.
task rabbits.
I
If you don't know
know.
what task rabbits are, you hire them to do different tasks around your house. But we have done this business for almost 9 years now. We have become
Many offices.
so incredible at building furniture.
Yes, yes. So
Just
we spent
amazing.
all day just building side tables, right? But you know what the funny part I was thinking about, if you want me to see how I wrap this up into romantic
I'm
breakups?
ready. I'm ready. I'm
There
prepared.
is still a part of me that every time we do something successful, I'm like, I hope my high school boyfriend sees this. I don't care about this person. I've never thought about him since. It is totally in a spiteful way. But sometimes I think no matter what, you want people that you've fallen out for to see you doing well.
Especially,
I won the breakup.
well, I think that probably comes up the most too if you were the one broken up with,
I
right? Where
was
that
hard.
yeah. Right. So if you're the one being broken up with, you want to be like, well, I'm going to come back so fucking strong so that you regret this.
Yes. So this
And
is
do you
my
think that your high school boyfriend regrets it now?
no, I don't think he cares. Don't think he's thought about me. I He went to college. I was still in high school. He was 2 years older. I essentially begged him to stay with me.
Yeah.
He actually said the phrase to me, "Emily, having a girlfriend your freshman year is like bringing sand to the beach. There's just no point." And so I essentially did continue to make him
Wow. Oh, wait.
I was like, "Oh, it's fine. It's fine. No, no,
He's
no.
a
You don't want this." Yeah.
he's a deep thinker. I
Yeah.
understand.
He told me
That was
someone told him that. So he just cheated on me the entire year.
right. Yeah, that happens. As soon as and then did you get the Thanksgiving breakup where he came home on Thanksgiving and you had
I
the
did
talk?
Yeah, so he broke up with me and then his friends called me and told me that he was okay, his best friend from college called me and was like, "Just so you know, he's been sleep I just found out he's been sleeping with my girlfriend the whole time." And, yeah, they, called me on break and I was like, yeah, I guess we're broken up now." Then he never talked to me again.
Wait, so he didn't even break up with you? He just cheated
I
on you. You found out and then you never had the conversation?
To be fair, though, I refuse to hear any other time he did try to break up with me, if I'm being
Right.
honest, right?
Okay. All
Like I
right.
had said in previous episodes, no one had ever described me as chill, especially in high school. And so I'm pretty sure he directly and indirectly tried very hard to end the relationship, but
Okay.
I wasn't accepting that as an answer.
I love that for you. Can I just say
Really?
that feels very on brand, not in relation, but just I'm not taking no for an answer. You going after exactly what you want. So I really think that's on brand for you.
Yeah, but then people will then just end up cheating on you or doing
Right.
whatever
That's
they want when you
right, right.
refuse to see it.
I think there's some maybe areas you can use that in a little more
Yeah,
productively, which I
not
think
in this.
you have channeled it so incredibly well
For business. For
for business.
business.
For business.
Right? I made you start this private practice. That wasn't an
Yes.
option. I forced
And
you
you
into
know
that.
what? You did not take no for an answer.
Were you cheating on me
I
the
could
whole
have
time?
cheated on you with an agency, but
You could, but you didn't.
I decided not to.
I love
So
it. you.
You really turned that
Thank
around.
you. Thank you. So let's talk about romantic breakups. I hope yours
Yes.
was better than my experience. Because we have a lot of different questions. Jen, tell me, what was your most difficult breakup?
Can I just say,
What?
I was a serial dater.
Yeah.
Serial. I would take maybe like few months off back
Okay.
into a
And then back.
relationship. I
Yeah.
was a relationship girl.
Yeah.
So after so many breakups, you get numb to them after a while.
What, you don't have like your most like for
Yeah,
mine it was
I
high
think
school going into
the
college. It was
most
horrific.
the most painful ones were very early on because I think the first breakup is so painful because it's like experiencing something you've never experienced before.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you experience that pain of, and you know it's happening, right? Like you can feel them pulling away. It immediately turned me into my like avoidant attachment self. Before
Yes.
that, I wasn't always in that place.
Well, it's like when when you're the one who's choosing to do the ending, you've had months and weeks to
Yes.
process and already grieve and acceptance because you have
Yes.
already like they're like, you know what, I
You've
see
been
it coming.
there
Yes, you've
for a
been
long
exactly.
time.
So then you get to the time where you actually do the breaking up and they're like, why don't you care? Why don't you feel anything? You're like, oh no, because I actually already felt all this about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Um, but then you can have the same thing happen to you where someone's breaking up with you and you're like, why are they not as devastated as me? Often it's because they already grieved.
And I think what comes with that is when you're feeling that from them, like, why aren't they as upset? You know, you go through all of these thoughts in your head, like, was this whole relationship a lie? Like, did they always, how long were they feeling this for? Right. That there's
Mhm.
all this betrayal and mistrust in the relationship and mistrust within yourself of like reading those cues of like, how did I not know? They had just told me all of these things. And then all of a sudden they're turning around and breaking up with me. But maybe they were thinking about this for a really long
Yeah.
time. There are so many thoughts that I think go through your head that are really hard to grapple with. And I think, you know, loss of trust within yourself is also a big one on top of loss of trust within the other person, because you're like, how did I not see this? Right. Because you don't have control over the other person breaking up with you. What you have control over is yourself. And so you start beating yourself up. Like, should I have done something different? Should I have
Yeah.
noticed this sooner? If I didn't say that like weird thing that I said the other day, would they have still broken up with me? And the answer is yes. Yes, they would have. It had nothing to do with that weird thing you said the other day.
Yes.
So, my hardest breakup, I would say, it was probably the ones earlier on because, you know, I had never experienced a breakup before. And I just want to validate the fact that breakups are so painful,
Yeah.
like so incredibly painful. I think, you know, for the one who's doing the breaking up with, they're painful, I think, in maybe a slower process.
Mm.
And it's more, you're not really talking about it, right? It's not this like dramatic ending in the same way. It's more of like the slow burn that gets to this place where you're like, okay, I finally worked up the nerve and I'm finally confident in the decision of I no longer want to be in this relationship anymore. Whereas if you're being broken up with, it is more of this like intensity in the moment, wasn't expecting this pain that you are left with.
Ooh, and that pain is so difficult to just sit with, right? And that's the thing is like, that's what a lot of people want to know is like, well, what do I do with it? I'm sitting here and I'm in so much pain. How the hell do I get over this? And I'm going to promise you, as much as it feels good to just fuck someone else or get really drunk or burn all their shit, it's not actually going to do the immediate gratification you're looking for.
Right. I mean,
I've tried.
because I mean too.
I tested it for you. You don't have to do that.
I
In
sold,
fact, going out and screwing a
I
ton of people will not make you actually feel that much better.
I was cheated on in college. I was cheated on like a million times, right? So my one
What
in
does this say
college,
about us? Yeah.
I don't know if I wasn't putting out or whatever it was.
Wasn't putting out.
Putting out what years? But in college, when I was cheated on, I was so pissed. I sold I sold his Xbox on Facebook.
How much did you get for it?
I don't know. Just I got the satisfaction of everyone knowing that I was selling his Xbox on
Did it make
Facebook.
you feel better?
No.
Never does.
I think it made me feel a little bit, it gave me a sense of like having power over the situation that I was powerless
Yeah.
of. And so I think that that small, satisfaction of it was helpful in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But no, in the end, selling the I definitely got some money for it though.
Yeah,
So,
I bet you did. And who doesn't need
so
money in college?
I just needed a few more things at the dining hall.
She wasn't putting out, but she was putting out that Xbox. All right, let's get to listener questions.
It's beautiful. Okay.
Um, dealer's choice, babe. You're
I love that. How to grieve when you were good friends before losing both. Oof.
Mm,
Okay. Let me just say, I think this is anytime you get into a relationship with a friend, that is always the risk, right? Like, that once you've crossed that line,
yeah.
that there is that risk of if this doesn't work out, then the whole relationship is not going to work out.
Especially if it's like what from a friend group, right?
Oh, that is a hard one because your
And
friends
everyone
are
and
friends with
everyone
them.
in the group is like, "Oh man, I really hope this
Uh,
works out."
and then when it doesn't, they're like, "Oh shit, I told you so." Wait, can we take a pause to talk about our "I told you so" moments? We were having a conversation the other day about how anytime in business, if like something goes right or if something goes wrong, Emily and I love to say to each other, "Oh, well, I had a feeling that was going to happen. I told you so."
I knew we should have hired her. She was amazing. Oh,
But
I knew
we
we
just
shouldn't have bought that
we
couch. Horrific.
horrific, terrible, fell right through it.
Pure
Just kidding. That
guesses.
has not happened.
Pure guesses.
Your guesses has it, but we love to believe that we're reading a situation correctly.
Yes.
So if we bring this back to somehow bring this back to romantic breakups, is that if your friends are saying, "Oh, I had a feeling that this wasn't going to work out," or like, "I knew that this wasn't going to be good." I think that when we talk about anything, we say that getting into any relationship is a risk. When you're getting into a relationship with a friend, it's a different type of risk. You
Mm,
are risking the fact that this isn't going to work out between the two of you in a romantic sense. You're also risking your friendship. And you're risking the dynamics in the friend group if you guys are intertwined in this friend group.
mm.
So, how to grieve, it makes it more complicated. It definitely makes the grief more complicated. It definitely changes dynamics within your friendships. I also think there's opportunity to give it some time, and come back to the relationships in the friend group. Your relationship with that person will most likely never be the same,
Ooh,
which can be
that
really,
is,
really hard.
yeah.
So I guess
It
something to
doesn't mean
think
it can't be
about.
good. You
Doesn't
have
mean
to
it
move
can't
on
be
to a different
good.
version of it.
Exactly. And I
Obviously.
think that's something to think about is, you know, if it's a different version of it, what are the things that were in your friendship that you are grieving? Like what specifically in your friendship do you no longer feel like you have? Can you build that in other relationships? Can you
Mhm.
give it time for your relationship with that person to reset, even though it'll never be the same? Because right now you might be very early on with this grief. And sometimes it just takes time to move through it. Time is really helpful for this. And I know if you're going through a breakup, it's not easy to hear that because you have no control over time and how long something takes.
Yeah.
But I can promise you, from a girlie who's been through about a million breakups, time heals all, right? And for certain relationships, it takes longer than others.
And I think it's right. Like, so the thing is, like, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Time heals all. And I think time and action, right? Like,
Mm.
if you're like, time heals all, so I'm just gonna go like take like a bunch of meds and just go sleep this off for 3 weeks, then I'm gonna feel better at the end of it. Probably fucking not. You're probably gonna feel exactly the same, although probably very rested and a little bit withdrawal. But
Right.
right, like I'm like time and also like doing things for myself. Right. If I lost things, let's say
Yes.
that like me and my partner were like super into playing tennis together. I'm just thinking of you, Jen. Me and my
That's so
partner really into
nice.
tennis, and then also now of a sudden, like I need a different doubles partner, and like maybe like I don't feel ready to like go back to that tennis thing, and so then I have to like start like doing this like sailing class. I don't fucking know, right? Like time and action of like, okay, like if I lost a little bit of myself in that, how do I regain some additional parts of myself? Right? Like, how do I move on to something new and figure out different parts of myself? And maybe I find out I fucking hate sailing and cool. Then I found out because I took this class and I wouldn't have known unless I tried.
Right. I think that's a piece of it too, is that like you're not just losing the relationship, you're losing all of the connection and activities that you had in that relationship,
Yeah.
right? Like you're grieving so much at the same time. Um, and I think that's one of the hardest things is we always talk about like you can't take away a coping mechanism and not replace it with another. And so you're losing all of this connection, right? Like all of this, I'm talking to this person every day. We're doing things together. Your whole life has to change. And so I think sitting down and thinking about what are healthy ways that I can replace some of these things.
Yeah.
And I think something that's really helpful is making it a point to spend time with your friends and connecting with your friends.
Mm.
Like you got to be around people.
And we're talking, right? Like, I love what you talk about, like, like grieving those parts and like parts of yourself. The other thing that comes up for me is like the grieving of the future I envisioned with this person,
Yes.
right? Like, I'm not just like sad about all things that aren't there, but like, what's the parts of myself I envisioned with them? Maybe I envisioned us getting married or growing old together or sitting on our front porch yelling at kids when they walk on our grass, right? Like, any of these things I like sort of solve for our future together because like we do that. Like, don't act like that's not a thing that we do. I even like envision like, life with my puppy when he gets older, right? Like, you think about these things in the future and it doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're like this crazy clingy fucking person or whatever bullshit stigmatized thing we do. Although I am all for clingy shit. Um it's just who I am. Um but like you also created this future, whether it was real or not, that is grief that has to be processed.
Yes.
I thought that I was a little bit set with this person, and now I have to re-envision my whole future. And that is really fucking mind-blowing. It
Yes.
really messes with who we are in the identity and the world we start to create for ourselves.
Oof. Dagger to the heart. Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready for next question? You go. Dealer's choice. Back to you. I don't
I
know. I
don't
don't know how that works, but
I don't
feels
think
right.
either of us actually know what dealer's choice means. Okay. How to go forward with a breakup when you're a people pleaser. Ooh, this is such a hard one and such a good one. The cool thing about being a people pleaser is you get to have every difficult conversation as a challenge for you, and a challenge
Yay.
helps you grow. Um,
Yeah.
so it's one checking in with yourself, right? Of how badly this feels and for what reasons, right? Like if you're having a massive amount of discomfort, what's that discomfort actually about and pertaining to? Not just that, like, oh, I'm so bad I hurt them. One, am I worried about what that says about me? Am I actually worried about this person? Right. So like sort of breaking down like what's the context I'm giving to each to the discomfort? What do you think?
And I was thinking,
You've had to do this. I remember one specific breakup you had to do.
yep. Yes,
he
I
was
did.
he was a lovely fella.
So long. There's
Such
no
a
right.
nice guy.
Right.
That's the worst part. Almost,
It's
that's almost worse
nothing. It
sometimes.
it absolutely is because you don't necessarily have a reason besides this just like is not working for me. But the thing I want to reframe for this person of breaking up with someone when you're a people pleaser is you are not doing the other person any good by staying in a relationship where you are not fully in it,
Even if they're telling you that.
even
Even
if
if they're
they're right.
telling you, like what I was doing to my high school boyfriend.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like it's the relationship at that point is no longer authentic
Mm.
because you are always questioning it. You're always thinking about, is this right? Does this feel right? I don't feel like I'm in this. And so the people pleaser part is kind of the surface level part of this, as opposed to like this person, yes, it will be painful for them, but if you break up with them when it's an inauthentic relationship, they get the option of moving on and being able to, focus on finding a relationship where another person is fully in it, doesn't question it. They have an authentic relationship. So, as a people pleaser, if you can reframe this and say, I really care about this person, even though nothing's wrong, right? They're a good person, but it's not working. If I really care about them, I can let them go. Um, and yeah, I had to do this in grad school. And I remember it was very difficult. I remember sitting on my floor and just like hyperventilating a little bit because we were in a long distance relationship. And
was it just that you were just feeling so bad? Like
yeah,
what was okay.
yeah, I just,
What was the bad? What was the feeling that was the bad?
I think I was just fearful of how they were going to respond. It really pains me. I think pained me even more then because I did less of my own work at the time to do anything that was going to make anyone else upset. Like it felt like I was doing this to them, which I was, right? Like I was making this choice that was right for me, but it was of course going to hurt them. And to sit with that is so hard, especially when you don't really have a reason other than this just is not working for me,
Yeah.
And so it's just tough. It's tough on both ends. I read a statistic. I'm going to botch this. I'm not going to tell you what the statistic is because I have no idea, but it was something like a large percentage of people stay in relationships because of the fear of hurting the other person.
Mm,
And that they stay in those relationships for a long time because they don't want to hurt the other person.
yeah.
But I'm going to give you this. How much then are you hurting yourself? Right? There's so much of this. I'm going to put this other person first before myself. And in a healthy relationship, you want both of you to, of course, not all the time, but somewhat be getting your needs met and somewhat be happy and be content in the relationship. If you're spending all this time putting the other person's needs before yours, then what kind of a relationship is that?
Mm.
Oof.
All right, you ready for your next question?
Yes.
I want to take a break, but I'm scared of how sad I will be or if he finds someone else.
It's possible.
It's possible. You don't get to control. If you ask someone for a break, you don't get to control what happens next. And it's true. And is it still the right thing to do to stay in something based on fear and anxiety? It's
Mm.
true. Doing something different is choosing to go down a road that we haven't walked before. So it's very, very scary. Frankly, it's easier to just stay on the path we've walked before, even if it's discomfort. You're like, well, this one, like, I got to walk on like fucking glass and rocks and some Legos, but at least I know kind of how to hop around it. This other one does look like a nice little meadow, but you don't know. You don't know what's down there.
There could be Legos in that meadow.
There's going to be Legos in that meadow. That's the fucking thing, right? Do not think because that you're like, oh, well, I'll find someone else and they'll be that's so great. Like,
There's no, right. You might think like, oh, I'm going to find someone else. There's no Legos there. There are Legos.
everywhere. It's not perfect anywhere. But if your body is telling you something, I want to take a break, I want to take a break, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, or one of those things, in some ways, how do you like listen and sort of honor that and also give up control of what that will look like?
And I would want to know what is the expectation of what this break is going to do, right? Is the break leading just towards a breakup and that it's scary to say, I just want to end this? Or is it, what's the goal of the break,
Yeah.
right? Is
Mm-hmm.
there something that you're looking for? Have you expressed that within your relationship, before you're moving towards this break? I just have so many questions about this, about what the goal is, because I think that there can be really productive things that might come out of a break if you have a conversation about it with your partner before then.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen couples take breaks and come back together stronger and kind of break this cycle of codependency or be able to work on themselves to come back together. So that's something to think about, is like, what is this break? What's the goal of this break? Are you going to both take your time to work on yourselves to come back to the relationship to talk about what can we work on within this relationship? Is it just like, I need to get out of this and see how I feel? So I would ask kind of the questions around like, what's the goal of this?
Yeah. Okay. Is indifference towards them ideal, good, or a good goal? It could be if that's what it is for you.
Where is that?
I'm looking at number 5. Number 5 is what I'm looking at.
Number
Yeah.
5. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry. I gotta read, my processing. Is indifference toward them ideal good, a good
I
goal?
guess that means like at the end. Sure. If that feels important for you, some people really want to feel love. Some people want to feel all those things. Maybe you do feel indifference and like you've just moved on, you feel nothing. And like, so that's really, it's like, is it a good goal for you? Could be.
Could be.
Could
Some
be.
people, because here's the thing, some people end relationships and they're just always angry at that person for whatever they did, right? Like this
Yeah.
person scorned me at this time. And so I
And
am,
I shall always
and I
revenge.
shall always remember that.
Scorn
And
me.
I will hold on to that for the rest of time. Is it a good goal? As you're saying, I think the question is it a good goal for you? How do you feel towards any exes of yours?
Me? Well,
Yeah.
I'm that person if I saw anyone. I only have one breakup in my whole life, and it's a friendship breakup that I would run for the motherfucking hills if I saw this person.
Yeah,
And you know who I'm talking about.
I do.
And every other, like any romantic like breakup, I would like run up and give him a big hug and be
Me
like, you know
too.
what? Yeah,
Every
no
time I
problem.
have seen an ex,
Yeah,
I
it's
am
great.
like so excited to see them. I ask
Yeah.
them how they're doing because so I guess that's the question. You don't have to get to that point,
No.
right? You could just get to indifference. You could hold on to your scorn for the rest of time.
So what I'll do with
The
that
question,
friendship breakup.
right? The question is, what's it doing for you, right?
Mm,
What is this doing for you? I personally think about breakups, once I get to the point where I'm like, I'm no longer holding feelings for this person, of like, we shared good and bad, really important times in my life that have led me to this point. And once again, whether good or bad, I almost like cherish it as like, this
yeah.
is something that has taken me to the point I am now.
Yeah. Now, if
And
there was like significant trauma in the relationship, narcissistic abuse, physical and emotional abuse, right? Like coercion, like any of that type of stuff, like, we're so we had cheating, but
yeah,
like for me, it wasn't this horrible life altering stuff. At the time, it really was. Now, decades later, I don't care,
yes, yeah.
but it would
Because,
be very
right,
different.
100%.
There
I
was the
think that
trauma that
that's,
happened in the relationship.
yes, if there was trauma in the relationship, if there was a lot of pain that it caused, if you're still working through that trauma too. Yeah, no, that makes sense that would be really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe you wouldn't run up to them and say hi if you
Yep.
saw them. That would make a lot of sense. I would say take care of yourself.
Yep.
Um,
Dealer's choice. Not the right word.
no.
I
Is there
think
a
Nikki would be the dealer because she's the one who's compiling these.
Yeah, she
Mm-mm.
would, but she's right. Okay.
Yeah.
We're too many gambling metaphors that we don't understand. Is there a specific amount of time to wait before moving on? I like this question because
What's your
I think that everyone kind of wants to, oh, is it too soon? Right? Is it too early?
yeah.
I think you have to ask what feels right for you. I'm going to be honest. When I first got into a relationship with my husband, he was definitely not over the girl that he was with before. And I could tell.
Well, and they had like didn't they live together and have
No,
like
this
oh they
was the
didn't.
girl in between.
Oh, there was a girl in between. I'm sorry.
There was a
I didn't
that's all
realize
right.
that he also was a serial
You
dater.
did.
Glad you found each other.
It's really nice. It's nice when two serial daters match up. But he definitely, but because, so the thing is that I didn't take that personally because I was like, I know that your feelings for this person in the past do not have any significance on like how you feel towards me.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an important thing to think about is you are able to separate the two, right? To be like, I had feelings for an ex, but I can also have feelings for someone else. Oh, I guess I should reframe that. Are you able to separate the two?
Oh.
Right? I was able to separate the two. He was able to separate. I don't know if that's always the case, right? Where it has to be one or the other. So I guess that's the question is, are you able to separate the two? Are you able to still genuinely have feelings for someone and still be getting over lingering feelings? And these could be lingering feelings from like 2 years ago. They could be lingering feelings that just like pop up for you. That's okay. There is no timeline. I don't think. I think that, we get a lot of questions and a lot of people saying like, it's been years and I'm still not over this person. And I think that there's an expectation of like when you get over someone that those feelings have to never pop up, right? They
Mhm.
never, thoughts of them never come to your mind. But if they had a significant impact in your life, they're going to come up, right? They're going to pop up. It doesn't matter how much you care or love or married to your next partner. Those feelings might come up, and it does not dictate or it's not a signifier of how you feel about the person you're in a relationship with now, or that you're not moving forward or moving on.
Yeah.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, it does. So here's my thought.
Yeah.
My good like the etiquette. So I think there's significant no. I think you mean like sometimes you like meet someone by chance while you're in a relationship and you decide like I'd like to pursue that person and end this one. I just think of consideration, generosity. Do I think you should be like posting it all over Instagram, like really causing more harm to somebody? No. I think you should
Okay.
try to be generous and considerate in your actions.
Yes.
But besides that, like, no, I don't think there's a specific amount of time. But
Yeah.
I think that there is ways to have harm reduction.
Yes. Like
That's my
towards
answer.
another person, right? Like if you
Yes.
broke up with someone.
Yeah.
Agreed. I
If somebody
completely
broke up
agree.
with you and you're like, you want to know what? I just don't want to feel this. So I'm just going to go like hang out with anyone I can. I don't think it's going to give you the satisfaction and the grieving you really think it's going to. And I do makes me think about what does that mean for the new partner then of who maybe wants something and wants a partner who's ready to enter into it, not just someone
Yeah.
who's using you to get over someone. So I just
Yeah.
think about like, am I being generous and considerate in my relationships? That's
Yeah.
it.
And you know, if you're the one who was broken up with, that you're going out and you're posting every fucking picture, right? Like I am having the best time without you, right?
Hmm.
Even though you're going home afterwards and you're like, oh God,
You're like, fuck, I'm sad
I am
because
sad.
you're
And
gonna
that's
still be sad.
and that's the thing, that's what we do, is like the sadness is so painful. It's so hard. It hurts so much that,
Yeah,
going out, being with friends, it's a good distraction from the sadness. It's a good
yeah.
distraction from the pain.
Um. Uh, okay, we have to do a dear Jim, dead Jim.
Dear Jem, let's just turn to one person. As we're talking about breaking the cycle of codependency, we are now one.
Oh my gosh, dear Em and Jen.
Yeah.
Can you speak to different parts of the grieving process after a breakup? There's the expectation piece because I thought he was the one, the rejection piece, the worry about not ever finding anyone else piece, the being the only single one in my friend group piece, the bruised ego piece. Will I ever get all these things? Feeling so stuck and so sad. Any words of wisdom are appreciated. Can we just talk about this person's fucking insight?
Emotional intelligence.
You're 100, baby.
You,
Wow.
you got it.
You got it. All I can think about is, damn, whoever is like lucky enough to end up with you is fucking lucky as shit. Look at this person talking about here's a part that hurts. Here's a piece that hurts. Here's this thing. Here's this different avenue. And I don't want it to feel this way. But oh my gosh, your ability to break that down. You're there, honey.
You got it. Okay. And I think
Yeah.
the question, will I ever get over all of these things? So the fact of the matter is you're processing all of these, which is incredible. Like, bravo to you. There will be times where these things pop up for you. Where will you, this is, people always ask us, will you ever not feel something? Will you ever get to the point where you never feel any of these
Hmm.
things? Maybe not, right? It's possible that these things will continue to pop up, right? The rejection will pop up in different ways, right? Maybe they will no longer be tied specifically to this relationship. Maybe they will be tied to other things. But what we do know is the more that you allow yourself to process this, the more you allow yourself to go through this, you take care of yourself in it, the more you're going to be able to move through it with grace. And the initial feelings of it that are very, very challenging. And so the thing that I do want to say is while you're going through this, it is essential that you're doing the things you need to do to take care of yourself because they're so painful.
I mean, I think it's also right. They're asking about the grieving process. And like we always do really talk about this in terms of an ocean wave. At the beginning, it's going to smack you on your ass every fucking day. Every day, the expectation piece is going to hurt. The rejection piece is going to hurt. The worry piece is going to hurt. But slowly and surely, the waves will knock you down less. the tide goes out, they become more gentle, but grief can come up sporadically, right? Like, do I think it's ever going to fully go away? Maybe not, but I think it's going to hurt way less. And I think it's going to knock you down way, way less. And each day, that's what you look for. This hurts a little bit less than yesterday. This piece I feel a little bit different about. This piece I feel a little bit different about, right? When I can break it down, it is much easier to navigate.
Wow. Or you just never go into the ocean again.
That sounds like a really solid way to end up lonely and yet self-protected.
Just kidding. I just don't like the ocean in
I
general.
know you don't like the ocean. Neither does Nikki. The two of you. You're
Just,
like, you're not like me, I'm a water girly.
I'm not a strong swimmer. You're gonna have to
That's
come save me. I am not a strong swimmer.
all right. Okay. But that's it for
our episode.
That's it for the episode. Jen will learn to swim. We will all learn to heal, and that will be it for all of us.
Wow.
We cannot thank you enough for coming to this week's episode and listening to this episode of ShrinkChicks. Jen, will you call us out?
Oh God, every single time. If you enjoyed this episode, if you're going through a breakup, we love you. You will get through this. Take good care of yourself. If you have a friend that's going through a breakup and would appreciate this episode, send it on over to them. Always remember to rate, review, and subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts. If you are looking for a therapist, we have therapists available in California, Massachusetts, Florida, Delaware, New York, Pennsylvania. Am I missing anything?
New Jersey.
And we are opening up a beautiful new Philadelphia office. And we also have an office in Westchester. Feel free to reach out to the therapy group. And thank you so much for listening. And never forget to grow yourself. You got to know yourself. Thanks.
Love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.